who is afflicted with tzaras, choshev kameis, and with tzaras choshev kameis. Ayin Rashi and Shmos Beis Chav Gimel, Vayomas Paro Melch Mitzrayim Alamish and Tzorah, that's considered a misa. Amela, what are you going to do? Take him a daber, and you could go ahead and take him a daber and make him choshev kameis, kilu, metaphorically. You can kilu rob him of his life, turning a healthy human being into a Mitzayru who's choshev kameis. We're not done yet. You have to do the reverse, just like turning the staff, the domim tzamech, into a chai, and then you control the chai, turning it, reversing course, and turning it back into a staff. Take a human being, a medaber, and now make him choshev kameis, make him mitzaras kashole. We're not done. Now do a mein of tchias amesim, take him a tzayra, and now reverse course yet again and turn him into a healthy human being. Gavaldik. You have thus demonstrated shlita over domim tzamech chai medaber. Now the Eibishter, it's very good. Kolos Arishan, Kolos Achron. We're done. You just highlighted to Klal Yisrael that you control Domain Tzomech Chayim Adaber, a staff that grows from the ground, and now you pluck it out. It's Domain. You could turn it into a Chay. You could turn a Chay into Domain Tzomech. You could turn a human being a Medaber into me, so you can restore him back to life. You're done. Amela, that's one category. Kolos, Arishan, Kolos Achron. You're done. You convince them. What do we have to do now? It's not just about building up their self-esteem. Yes, and now you show that Moshe Rabbeinu controls every classification of the Bria, but can you now do war with their gods? So you can now face Paro. Can you face the Egyptian deities? How can you go ahead and control? Out down here, so they knew what's the number one god, the Nile. The Nile, by the way, is an Egyptian word that actually means water. It means water in Egyptian. The whole society was dominated by the overflowing, inundating waters of the Nile that sustained them on an annual basis. Amela, the Nile River, is the number one river. Hashem says, the number one source of water and sustenance. I want you to go ahead and draw forth the water. Take their God. You just highlighted all the classifications of the Bria, of creative matter down here. Moshe Rabbeinu, as a human being empowered by the Almighty above, controls. We're not done yet. You did Osrishon Asachron. You're covered with the Bria. Now it's a Sug B'fnei, an altogether new category. Now address directly the main Egyptian deity down here. Take the Nile River. That's going to be the start of the plagues. Dam and Sfardea. I want you to go ahead and take the water, and like Rashi tells us, the extra mention of a hayu is to illustrate it won't stam turn into blood the second Moshe Rabbeinu emerges from the Yam. It's only when Moshe does what? V'shafarta yabosha, when you take their deity in your hand and you metaphorically highlight who's controlling whom. You call this Egyptians a deity. Moshe Rabbeinu now is instilled with the power. He could take the Egyptian god down here, v'shafarta, throw it onto the dry land. That a dry land, Dafki Yabosha, not Arza was mentioned before, now it's Yabosha. Go to a totally dry place that has no Nile River. Now take the water, that God, you throw it, be mavaza, disgrace, and disparage it, and you take it and slam it onto the ground and turn their God into blood, make it meaningless. It has no life-sustaining capability any longer. Amamela, now we answer the question. It's Gavko and Moshe Rabbeinu cast it to the ground. Now we understand Yabosha versus Arza. We understand why it's a category all by itself. It's not Osrishon Asachron. That was already done. Those were Legabi, the classifications of all creative matter. And now it's about addressing their deity. And what we asked to, why not do the reverse? After all, the staff went into a snake and vice versa. The head into a leper and vice versa. Why not turn the blood into water? He doesn't have to turn the blood into water. If I can turn a snake into a stick, if I can turn a mitzaras into a human being, then it's a Me'ilah. That's axiomatic, self-evident. Of course he could go ahead and turn blood into water. The Chiddush wasn't. And now go ahead and turn blood into water. The Chiddush was take their God and defile and profane and disparage openly. How you could take their God, you throw him onto dry land and destroy him and turn that water, the Nile, into blood. You don't have to do the reverse. The reverse is obvious. If they saw the reverse in the first two, it's pashut. You could turn blood into water. The Chiddush take their God and destroy their God. And now we understand why it's a category all by itself. So now when you come in front of Paro, what are you going to do? Paro already started out. He already believed that all his Chartume Paro, the necromancers, the Bali Kishiv that they were, they had already mastered witchery, sourcecraft. They knew they control all the, through Kishiv, at least optical illusion-wise, they already believed that they controlled all the classifications of the Bria. So what are you going to do? You're going to go through the Osis in front of Paro? That's it. Klal needs to see that. They need to be built up, and then they need to see you destroy their deity. What are you going to show in front of Paro? All you got to do is what? Take the lowliest form of the Bria. And now you're going to do what? Take the staff that's in your hand. What is the difference between a Nachash and a Tanin? Rav Shamshon Full Hirsch and others point out, a Tanin is the Egyptian crocodile. They didn't just worship the Nile. They worshiped the largest, most powerful creatures that resided in the Nile. That was, of course, And the Egyptian crocodile, that's the Tanin. Again, there are other interpretations, but most Mepharshim understand that's a Tanin. And what are you going to do in front of Paro? Paro worships the Nile, and Paro worships the crocodile. And you're going to take the lowliest form of the Bria, the combination of stick that grows from the ground, and now it's still a lifeless matter. That representation of Domem and Sameach, you're going to turn it into one of their gods, into the god of the Nile River. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And now Aaron the Kohen's staff is going to swallow it up. At the end of the day, what do you need to do in front of Paro? You don't need to go through all the stages. All you need to do is show him how you can take the lowliest form of the Bria and create what he believes is a god, the god of the Nile River, and that Egyptian crocodile, and that suffices. And mainly we understand the messages that David still wanted to convey. Moshe Rabbeinu, you go and you show them that I'm empowering you with all the abilities that Paro and his Khartoumim claim to possess. But then you're going to go to the next stage and you're going to take their Nile River, throw it on the ground, turn it into blood. You don't have to do the reverse. You already highlighted. You don't only control every chelik of the Bria. You can control their Egyptian deity. You can control and defile and profane their God. And now we set the stage. Klal Yisrael is going to believe you. We're ready to go and prepare for the Makkos. That'll be next week. Parshas Vayera. Have an amazing day and a great rest of the weekend.